when the Frisia event dropped, both Path of Exile 1 and Path of Exile 2 were on the top 10 on Steam. That is awesome, dude. Like, yes, they were on the lower end, like at 8 and 10, something like that. But it is still awesome. How many developers would want 2 of their games to be at the same time on the top charts? It is insane, dude. Hey guys, I have this video right here that was recommended to me that is called Comparing Path of Exile 2 and 1 Statistics and Player Trends. And this video, of course, caught my attention, and I want to take a look at it, dude, because, hey, I am playing a ton of Path of Exile 1, and I am playing a ton of Path of Exile 2. Like, 50% of everything that I look up online is related to Path of Exile. So I want to say what this person has to say about it. It interests me, so let's just dive right into it, dude.
Hello and welcome everyone. So today I wanted to compare some interesting statistics, at least in my opinion, about Path of Exile 2 and Path of Exile 1 and how do these two games are keeping up with each other. How was Legacy of Frisia update?
Oh, are we going to do the competition between the two Path of Exiles? Like, oh, this game has more players and this game has more players. You know what? I think that we shouldn't divide ourselves. I have seen a division. Like, Path of Exile 2 players say it to PoE 1 Andy, so you want to fuck up our games or whatever. And Path of Exile 1 players saying, oh, they are destroying our game because they are focusing on Path of Exile 2 and Path of Exile 2 sucks. It is fine that you have a preferred game. I have my preferred game. I prefer 2. the PoE 2. But shouldn't we think that PoE as a whole is just one community? Instead of thinking about the PoE 1 community and the PoE 2 community as two separate entities, it is not better to think about the Path of Exile community. And this is both games. At least in my opinion, that is how I want to think about it. And that is why I make it a point to get into PoE 1, to learn PoE 1, to try PoE 1, to play PoE 1, to ingrain myself in the whole Path of Exile community.
Event, how it was in terms of popularity, rise for Path of Exile 1, and how Path of Exile 2 is currently going. So basically, if you are completely unfamiliar with situation, I'm gonna run through it in a little bit. So Path of Exile 2 launched at the start of December, and it hit a very high,
and it was fucking awesome, and I got instantly hooked to the game. And we are hitting March today. For me, it is March 1st, just starting out March 1st 9 minutes ago, and I am still hooked to this shit.
A number of players playing on Steam, of course. With Path of Exile 2, there's going to be a way more people playing on Steam rather than on standalone client, because there's a lot of new people.
I've been playing on the standalone client, by the way. So the point that I want to make with this is that this is a big number, right? Almost 600K. I have to think that if you include the standalone client and you include console players, this number might ascend to over 1 million players. Might not. Surely it ascend to over 1 million players.
Of new players, and they will probably prefer Steam for quite a lot.
But by the way, I want to address that some people don't identify this. When you come to Steam, you can say that the number is not accurate because of the standalone client and because of the consoles. But what you have to know is that this graphic that you are seeing here is going to look almost exactly the same on those other platforms too. Not exactly the same, but you could say that it is 90% the same graphic on those other platforms, because the trend of the player base normally follows the same pattern on every platform.
But with Path of Exile 1, we still, even with pretty big part of population playing on standalone client, we still had pretty big numbers in like 229,000 people whenever Settlers of Calgar were launching, and something close to 200,000 online was in previous leagues as well.
And I'll be honest, I was wrong about something. I thought that this event, the Legacy of Frisia event, was going to have similar number to this, and it didn't came even close. I thought it was going to happen because a lot of PoE 2 players were going to try the event, and it happened. It happened. players as myself that never really gave it a shot to PoE1, and they tried PoE2, they learned a little bit the game, they liked it, and they said, hey, I'm going to try the PoE1 event. But it didn't accomplish the numbers that I thought it was going to get to, you know. But maybe it is because it is not really a league, right? It is just an event. It is the same league that has been going for 8 months. I don't know, 7, 8, 9 months. Maybe there are a lot of even PoE1 players that said, I am not coming back if it is not a league. A lot of stuff like that. So what I do think is going to happen at some point is PoE2 releases the patch. After that, PoE1 gets the 326. If 326 is a big, cool, great league, we will see this number again, or even we will go over this number, because again, you will get all the PoE1 Andes coming back, and a lot of the PoE2 player base that likes PoE2, and they will be in a content drought. They will try the league in PoE1. So I still think that PoE1 will reach these numbers again, or even go over them when they get good leagues and they stagger them with PoE2, because again, you will create a one bigger community that will bounce between the two games. Not everybody is going to do it, because there are a lot of people that have their preferred game, but there will be a lot of people that can't get enough PoE and they will bounce between them. So even if it is just a 30% of the community, a 40% of the community, that it is still a really big fucking number, that it is always in these charts, you know.
Well, but what do we know about the population situation currently? So we know that the patch 0.2.0 is going to be released in a month, roughly, from February 20th, from one of the news. I
gave you guys my prediction, and my prediction was that that shed is going to come, like, if it was February 20, 1 month is March 20, right? So, in my opinion, 20 or 21 this weekend, it is not going to be launching here. My prediction is, or the week for the 27 or 28, and this is assuming it is not delayed. This is assuming they will release it when they are intending to release it, when they said, hey, a month from now. It will be or 27, 28, or 3, 4. Those are my 4 days that I am thinking the game will be released. Hey, if it is the 20, 21, fine by me. Fine by me. Awesome. Better. But I think that it will be 27, 28, or even 3 and 4. Which any date out of these 6 will fuck with Last Epoch, which launches on the 2nd. And the Last Epoch season is looking good, by the way. But as I said before, there is no way in hell I stop playing PoE2 to play Last Epoch. Even if Last Epoch is looking good, PoE2 is PoE2.
News that were posted by Grinding Gear Games. And now we do have this rough idea about the population of Legacy of Frisia event. So it is, we do have our mid of the week population. And to be honest, at least compared to my expectations, I think that the league is pretty successful in terms of holding the player base. So at the start of, not league, like event, at the start of event, we see here that on 20th of February, it was 92,000 almost concurrent players at the launch. And then like 77, 75.
And yes, we can say that the event is successful. Any game that has this kind of numbers would consider itself successful, right? The thing is that I maybe overestimated the amount of people that was going to get back to an event and not a league, right? I thought this was going to get higher, but it is still, as he's saying, these are still good numbers. We have to understand that these are still good numbers.
5, pretty stable online, which started to decline yesterday and today up to 60,000.
For something that the only thing new that it has is the idol system and the ascendancies, which are, some people say that the ascendancies are not even that new, because they are other things that are in the game put together in an ascendancy, you know, like unique effects and stuff like that. So for something, what I am trying to say is not downplay the quality of the event, but saying that it wasn't something that required a huge amount of effort on GG's part. So with a little bit of work, they were capable of drawing these numbers, you know. So that is good news. What I am saying is these are good news.
People, and with Path of Exile 2, especially this last week, whenever...
By the way, this is insane. To me, this is insane. That PoE1 released a new event, which you could say it is new content. I know that it technically isn't or whatever, but it is something new. And we are in the point on PoE2 with the most content drought, and PoE2 still is pulling these fucking numbers. It is insane. I have saying this several times, and I will keep saying it. The player retention PoE2 has is insane. When this game is completed, it is going to be insane, brother. It is going to, of course, this number is going to go higher when we get more content or when the game actually releases and it's free to play and everybody can create an account. I have several friends that have not tried the game because you have to pay, that they would try it if it was free. At least 5 more people. So if you know 2 people and everybody in here knows 2 people that would try the game, if the game was free, you can double or triple this number, you know. Like, it is insane, dude. It is insane. So I think that, and that is talking just of the high peak. But then we have to talk about the player retention. If 3 months after this shit was released, like January, February, March, yes, 3 months, we are in the content drought phase, an incomplete game with only 30% of the content that people say it is buggy, it is just the symptoms of the early access or whatever. Has this player retention, motherfucker. This game is going to be insane when it is actually completed with the player retention.
Whenever the Legacy of Frisia event was starting, we do see here somewhat of a...
And by the way, when you look at these 2 graphs, you can see why it is the correct business decision for GG to focus more on PoE2. I also don't want them to abandon PoE1. I am not saying this because I want them to abandon PoE1. No, keep it. Keep it because the juggling between the 2 games is going to keep everybody in your ecosystem. Because there is no way you can keep getting new content for the same game every month, you know. But when you juggle between the 2 games, it is possible. Or not every month, but every 2 months, you know. And that way you keep everybody engaged at all times. I am saying it in the way that some people think that it is a bad move for them to go all in on PoE2. And it is not a bad move. Because the numbers are backing up the decision of concentrating more into PoE2. Like, it is the correct business decision. Like, drawing the most attention towards PoE2 is the correct move. Because it is the game that is giving them the most attention, the most players. It is what is trending, dude. It is what is trending.
Rocky tendency, but just in general, Path of Exile 2 still has 70,000 people online, even today, even in its worst day of all, exactly. I guess. Because even on launch day of Legacy of Frisia, it had closer to 90k online.
Legacy of Frisia went over PoE2 for like a day, or for like some hours, in where PoE1 had more players. But that quickly dropped and PoE2 got back up again. Which, again, to me, it is insane. I didn't think it was going to happen. I'll be honest, what I thought was going to happen was that PoE2 was going to drop because everybody was going to go to PoE1 and we were going to be in that status quo until the PoE2 patch drops and then you switch it back. I thought that was going to happen. I am surprised PoE2 is right now with more players. I can't believe it, dude. I even don't understand it because right now you can play a somewhat alive league on PoE1 with new content, and PoE2 is the same shit for 3 months, and people are still preferring playing that. It is insane, dude.
What do we know about what it says to us? Basically, Path of Exile 2 is going to have pretty big and stable population,
yes,
even whenever
and the stability is really important because if you have a game which has an insane peak, so let's say that the game launches and it reaches 1.5 million players, but then 1 week later the number drops to 100k. That is awful retention, right? You can say that 100k players is still a really big amount of players, and it is if you compare it to this one. But I am talking about percentages of the amount of the drop that is having. It means that it doesn't have player retention. But if we extrapolate this amount of retention that this league has been having to a peak for 100.5 million players, you could say that this would be right now 200k players if you extrapolate the same percentage, the same proportion, right? 3 months after the release, it is too much. It is too much. So at this point, a new patch is coming, or a new league, if we are already in leagues 1 year from now. You understand what I'm saying? So having your lowest point be 200k players, it will be insane. Maybe even 150k players, it will still be insane. Like, I am trying to reinforce the argument that the player retention that PoE2 has is insane. And I want to reinforce it because I have been hearing some people, I know this is not as popular, by the way, the two mouse are messing with me, the 2 pointers. Because there are some people in the community, and I know that it is not the sentiment about the whole community, but there are some outliers out there that are making it seem that PoE2 sucks because the player base dropped. Because you used to have 500k players and now you only have 7k. And that is the wrong way of looking at this. In fact, it is the contrary, dude. This is insane player retention. This is an ARPG. The way ARPGs work is you get a lot of players on launches and they drop along the way until you get another league drop. Every ARPG works like this. And before PoE2 was PoE1 was like this. Before Diablo 4, Diablo 3 was like this. It is always like this. This is the trend. This amount, this proportion in percentage of players that are 3 months in content drought in PoE2 is insane retention for an ARPG. So have that in mind. This is what I'm trying to say is this is a successful game. And it is going to reach crazy levels when it is actually released free to play.
Things are started with Path of Exile 1 because the game certainly got a hold of players who started the whole genre or maybe Path of Exile series from the second part, and they are not all the people who were playing the game.
I have to say that I think that somewhat indirectly Diablo 4 helped this number be this big, and I will tell you how. You get Diablo 4, a lot of people, because of the IP and because of Blizzard and all the merchandising and the ads and all the empire that is built around Blizzard and Diablo 4, a lot of people got introduced to the ARPG genre through Diablo 4. Then they are playing Diablo 4. They are looking at content related to Diablo 4. They realize that Diablo 4, although it is a decent game, it is lacking in many ways. And when they look at the videos that content creators are making, they hear this game called Path of Exile. No, Path of Exile is better. Path of Exile is better. Path of Exile is better. And at one point they say, dude, I have to try this Path of Exile that they are talking about. Then they come to Path of Exile and they see all this shit, these gems in here that fucking suck dick. And a bunch of bullshit. Like, yes, the tree, some people get discouraged because of the tree. I love the tree. This is the best thing in this game, by the way. But there is a lot of things, and the crafting and all the bullshit and the mechanics and what the fuck is ritual and what the fuck is delirium and what the fuck is delve. And I don't know where I need to go. And all of this is clunky and blah, 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 blah. And they say, you know what? Fuck this shit. I don't have time to figure this shit out. And they log out of PoE1. But they are still knowing or wanting to try Path of Exile. They still want to try Path of Exile. But they are not trying it because the game is too complicated, because they don't like the graphics, compare it to Diablo 4, and this looks like shit. And they are looking for something else. But then they hear, Path of Exile 2 is coming out. It is going to have better graphics, better animation, better atmosphere, and they are going to simplify all the systems, and this is your opportunity to get into the game. And they say, bet. And they go ahead and they come to Path of Exile 2. So, in a way, indirectly, I think that Diablo 4 helped Path of Exile 2 be this big. Because Diablo 4 brought a lot of players to the ARPG genre, disappointed them by sucking, but they heard about Path of Exile, and then they went and played Path of Exile 2 because the one was too complicated, and now they are in the ecosystem of Path of Exile. What do you guys think about this theory, dude? Exactly what happened to me. I played PoE1 and completed campaign. I couldn't even work out how to do a map, so I quit. Exactly. And then PoE2 comes out and you say, hey, I am going to play this shit, and you get hooked. And now you are trapped in the Path of Exile world. that happened to me too, brother. And I think this number is this big because of that, and it will keep growing. It will keep growing because a lot of content creators, I will include myself, although I don't have a big voice because I am not that big, I still say it, and I know other content creators say it. We preach the Path of Exile 2 is going to be, in a year from now, it's going to be the best fucking ARPG of all time. It will be the new Diablo 2 that is like a milestone in the genre, and it is going to make history, you know. So that draws attention to the game, and this whole mythos is building around it. And I think, yes, this game will be insane when it is free to play.
We're interested enough, even with the skin, with the free skin for completion of Legacy of Frisia event, whenever you're getting the whole skin bundle at level 80. Not even with that reward, people who started playing Path of Exile 2 were compelled enough to go to Path of Exile 1. And in terms of the player base who has played Path of Exile 1 religiously and they are fans of the game, it's not bad to have almost like 100k online in terms of...
There are a lot of games out there that would kill to get these numbers that Path of Exile 1 has right now. They will kill for these numbers. Ask fucking Concord, dude. or about. Ask them if they wouldn't kill for these numbers, dude. Yeah, I played PoE1 and didn't even finish the second, and in campaign I quit. Never tried the end game. PoE2 is just better overall, to be honest. It seems way easier than PoE1 in my opinion. A lot easier to understand. Exactly. And now that you are familiarized with the game, they can start introducing back the complexities little by little. Because that is one of the reasons why PoE1 is so complex. Because it has 10 years of fucking complexity built on top of it. But now we are starting from scratch with PoE2. So everything new that they will give you the information little by little, and you will assimilate it and assimilate it and assimilate it. And yes, maybe in 10 years PoE2 will be as complicated as PoE1 is today, but that won't be our problem anymore. We will be familiarized with it because we are playing the game. We will be what PoE1 Andys are right now to the people that come new, that, hey, this game is too complicated, I don't know where to start, and we will say, hey, dude, it is not that complicated. But because we know everything, because we've been playing this shit for 10 years, of course it is not that complicated for us. But that is one of the cool things about starting from scratch. You know, you can remove the load, remove what is no longer necessary, start from scratch, and only keep what is necessary, and you start building up again, and everybody's happy. I think it is cool. And it is one of the reasons Path of Exile 2 exists in the first place.
Yet again, the thing is always in comparison. It was just an event. It was pretty successful, but nothing close, even like close to League launches. So what I do think here shows that whenever the new PoE1...
By the way, this is the graph that I was telling you guys earlier. This is the graph that, and this is a 3-year graph. You are looking at it from outside, right? 3 years. This is an ARPG graph. This is a League launch. You get the peak, drop, peak, drop, peak, drop. This is, and you go and ask Blizzard for this graph for Diablo 4, it is going to be the same shit. Ask them for this graph for Diablo 3, it is going to be this shit. This is the ARPG model. Even I have to think that World of Warcraft, that now that it has a seasonal model, it is also looking like this probably. Maybe with a little bit more retention because there are more stuff to do in an MMO, but still, somewhat similar to this. PoE2, the drop-off has not been so dramatic, and the player retention is insane. That is my point.
Leagues are gonna be happening. I am sure 100% people are gonna go and play it at a similar rate to what was before. So whenever the new league that they are cooking currently is launching, I think you can safely wait for like, and you can safely assume that there will be 150 to 200k online people on the start of the league. I don't think that Path of Exile 2 did anything bad to Path of Exile 1.
Hey, I also think that. In fact, I think the contrary. And I am glad that you, my dude, you are called Helden 9, Joe Helden. I am glad you brought up this point. This is a really good point because there are a lot of PoE1 players that think that PoE2 is bad for the game because they are neglecting the development of PoE1 because they are focused on PoE2. And you could say that that is not a bad thing to say because let's be honest, guys. They did neglect it by, hey, we are 9 months or 8 months or 7 months in Settlers of Kalgur. So, yes, it is true that no new league because they are focused on PoE2. We can't deny that fact. But at the same time, I do think that the existence of PoE2 brought a lot more players toward the whole ecosystem, and that benefits PoE1 in the long run. It is bringing up more money, more investment, more people. All of this is benefiting GGG, and it is benefiting PoE1 too. So yes, you are sacrificing a league in this period. Yes, you should have gotten the league and you didn't get it. You are sacrificing that for the well-being of the whole community, of the whole ecosystem. So I don't think that Path of Exile 2 is a bad thing for PoE1. In fact, I think the whole contrary. Path of Exile 2 is a good thing for PoE1, in my humble opinion. I can be wrong, of course.
And I do think that there is, even whenever the PoE1 leagues are going to be happening, Path of Exile 2 is still going to have its healthy population, maybe a bit lower than currently, because 70k, it's still a lot of new players who are just in general exploring.
This is a good thing also that he's bringing up in here. For the people that only want to focus on one of the games, this is a good thing he's bringing up. He's trying to make people understand, to not be worried if the preferred game can die while the other game thrives. So he's trying to say to you, hey, if you only play PoE1, even when PoE2 is having its time, there are going to be still people playing PoE1 and you can enjoy it. And it is also telling to PoE2 people, hey, when PoE1 is having its events, don't worry, there are going to be still people playing PoE2. That is what he's trying to say. I, of course, think that the way this is going to go, the scale is going to tip more towards the PoE2 side. Like the numbers in PoE1 will drop more and PoE2 will have a bigger retention. But still, I don't think that either game will die completely. The only people that can decide if one of the games dies is GGG, because both of the games have a dedicated player base. So the only way PoE1 dies is if GGG decides that they are not going to release more content for it. So far, we have no indication of that being the case. It will happen eventually, but I don't think it will be maybe 1 year, 2 years. It has to be more than that.
In the game for the first time, whenever new leagues are going to be coming, there will be way less new people, new players who are coming to the game, which means that this threshold will be lower and lower and lower. But just in general, whenever the 0.2.0 patch hits the ground, I do think that PoE2 will have maybe not 570 or whatever 1,000 it had on the launch, but it will have at least half and probably higher than half of the online people coming back. And I do think that it is a healthy situation that we currently have with Path of Exile franchise in general.
Exactly, the whole franchise is in a good place. In fact, the day that Frisia dropped, and that was before the Marvel Rivals season and before Monster Hunter dropped, so those games weren't as prevalent as they are today on the Steam charts. When the Frisia event dropped, both Path of Exile 1 and Path of Exile 2 were on the top 10 on Steam. That is awesome, dude. Like, yes, they were on the lower end, like at 8 and 10, something like that. But it is still awesome. How many developers would want 2 of their games to be at the same time on the top charts? It is insane, dude. Like, I think that Path of Exile is, in general, not one of the 2 games, but the franchise and GGG as a company, this is their best moment ever. How could you argue the contrary? There are people saying, no, Chris Wilson left, they are bought by Tencent, this is no longer blah, 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 blah. Brother, but the numbers are saying this is their best moment ever, dude. how many companies would like to have 2 games in the top 10 with this amount of player retention? Like, I think things are going fine, and something crazy has to happen for things to not continue to go fine, in my opinion. Like, I don't want to be like toxic positivity, like some dude said to me in one of my videos that I was being toxic positivity. But this is what I'm seeing, dude. Like, I am giving my opinion. This is what I'm seeing. So yeah, I think PoE 1 will die in 6-8 years as PoE 2 offers more content and lead. But dude, 6 years is a long time. You understand? Like 6 more years of the game. That is good. That is good. And in 6-8 years, PoE 2 will be what PoE 1 is today. You know? Something like that. Maybe even better. Maybe not. Probably better.
We do see that the launch of the new game did not stop the launch of the second game did not stop the life of Path of Exile 1. We do see a lot of differences between the 2 games, and a lot of people were not maybe a lot of people, but pretty good chunk of people were not quite as fine with how things were in Path of Exile 2. So yeah, I guess they will have their own place to stay. This is currently what we do have. Like, let's look at the last.
Which is another thing that you have to understand about PoE 2. We have this retention with all the problems that we know of. The end game is screwed. People hate a lot of stuff in the end game on PoE 2. The balance is broken. The economy is stupid. People duped items and temporalis, and the economy went to shit. Crafting sucks dick. Warrior sucks. You can kill pinnacle bosses if you are not an Uber Destroyer build. You can say a lot of shit about the endgame in PoE 2. The backtracking, the rares, the monsters, the precursor tablets, the bugs, a lot of shit. And even then, look at this. Imagine when that is fixed. Oh my dude. Oh my dude.
Week, it is the best type of comparison that you can make here. So the launch of the event of Legacy of Frisia did not impact Path of Exile 2 by much, because I assure you that most of PoE 1 players who were playing Path of Exile 2 just in general, up to this point of Path of Exile 2, they probably already left, and they probably already done everything that PoE 2 can offer to them. And that's why we don't see that big of a change in online here, because most of the people who are interested in PoE 1 are already not probably playing the second game.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a bit of a statistics here. Thanks for watching. Hope you're having a good time. Bye.
Hey brother, this was a good video. I liked it, dude. I like it, Helden, my dude. This was a good video because he's trying to establish. This is a positive video. He's trying to establish that both games are doing good. Players that like one or like the other or that don't have anything to worry about. The community is alive. Both games are alive. Everything is fine. Don't panic. Everything will be cool. If we are seeing a downtrend in one of them, it is because of the content drought. But if you like one, the other game is not going to kill your game, at least not in the foreseeable future. It will come to pass that eventually PoE 2 will kill PoE 1, but not necessarily because it wants to kill it, but it is because it is the new shiny thing. It requires more effort. With time, PoE 1 is going to start getting less and less and less attention, and people are going to focus more and more and more on PoE 2. It is just the natural state of things. There are people that still play Diablo 3, but let's be honest, if you look at the numbers, the majority of people play Diablo 4 and stuff like that. That is what it is, the natural progression of things, not necessarily because it is killing it, you know. But yes, it is a positive video telling us, hey, look, the numbers and the statistics back up that the community is strong and there is nothing to worry about. So I like this video, Helden. Thank you very much for this, guys. Let me know in the comments below what you think about it. Am I right? Am I wrong? Am I a clown? Am I a genius? Let me know everything. I love reading comments even when they don't agree with me. Also remember to like the video, to subscribe to the channel, all that cool stuff. Guys, thanks for being here. You guys are fucking awesome. God bless ya. And remember, don't be afraid ever, because this is just a ride.